All right, all right. Do we have any music from the band, or where's the band? We got a crowd cheer. We're on. It's Bora.
I'm back
from wherever. Don't want to say back from the dead in this day and age, but welcome back, Bora.
Thank
Everybody's
you.
Excited to see the kid.
2004.
We're going to have the kid on because we're going to be talking about the kids for the Giants, maybe here for the second half. But Carlo P says, Bora is alive. Yes.
Yeah. Well, when's the last time I was on? It's been a couple months, right?
Couple months, yeah.
I was in Europe pretty much for all of June.
Wow. What are you doing in Europe?
I was in Amsterdam. I visited Amsterdam with my dad.
That's cool. I've never been to I've never been to Europe itself. I've been to Asia, all over Asia. And
Europe is great. It's great. I love it.
I got to get myself to Italy. I was.
I want to go to Italy so bad.
I was at the bank the other day, and this Italian bank teller just nails my last name, Coach Emilio. She starts telling me I got to get over to Italy, and I was going years ago with my parents, and then wasn't able to make it. So, so tell us, Amsterdam. What's it like?
Amsterdam was great. Let's see. Well, my aunt lives there, so me and my dad, we visited my aunt, which was great. Amsterdam it's a great city. There's a lot of bikes. We didn't get the best weather. It was kind of rainy and cloudy. But we just walked around. We did a lot of things. And then we also went to Paris. So we walked around Paris. We saw Paris, which was great.
France. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Did you go to Germany at all? Or
no? We were planning on going to Germany, but that didn't end up happening.
Wow. Yeah. That's what's kind of cool about Europe is you can
go to so many places, and it's like you can take the train, you can ride the bus, it could
be in different countries, right? Just like that
in a couple hours.
Yeah, that's kind of like when I lived in New England. I used to hit all the New England states, New York, Massachusetts is part of New England, but New York, drive down over to Pennsylvania, would hit up took a family vacation to Pennsylvania to go to, the Gettysburg and tour that. I've been there twice. That's actually pretty darn cool and stuff. See where Pickett's charge was and all that stuff. But anyway, well, welcome. Let's get into this tonight. We're going to talk about, sorry for the voice, guys. I've got a bad cold. I must have picked up coming back from the Philippines, traveling. And both my wife and I, we got home last Wednesday, so a week ago today, but we both got slammed.
Oh, really?
And it started out kind of minor Saturday with a sore throat. Now it's just going into, nose, eyes, chest.
I had a little thing when I got back to the States, but I got over it quick.
Cool. Well, want to discuss the first half about the Giants, talk about some Major League Baseball surprises, surprise teams in the first half, disappointing teams, surprise players, disappointing players, and then kind of what you guys think might be in the second half, what you guys might expect. So what we think might happen, Bora and I, and what you guys in the chat, interact with us, and we'll go. This is kind of a late start. I know 9:45, not our usual 8:30. We'll be back Friday night, 8:30 Friday night. Bora, you'll be able to join us, I think, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to Colorado to the Giants game, and this crap, I just canceled my flight just before this.
Oh, damn.
I don't want to. The way I'm feeling and the way my wife's feeling, it's just like not worth,
Definitely not. Yeah.
Crap when you're traveling. So I was looking forward to the first game of the second half. But so anyway, what do you think? Giants finished first half 47-50. They got 65 games left. How how would you rate their first half on a A through F?
I'll give it a C. I mean, I'm not going to go into the C plus or C minuses or anything. I'll just give it a plain C. They're pretty much right at 500. They've been at 500 the past how many years, with exception of the 21 season. So it's just, I mean, Dan, you nailed it right on the head earlier this offseason. You were like, this is just an average team, which it is. I mean, you can say, for all their faults and all their weaknesses and all their strengths and everything, it falls back onto they're pretty much just a 500 team, and they haven't been a team over 500 in a pretty decent time, with exception to the 21 season, of course. So I'm just going to give it a C. There wasn't much excitement other than Elliot Ramos, who we all have said on NorCal Sports Network needs a shot. So it's great. It's great to see Ramos be able to prove us right.
Yeah, we were the only people last year. No one, none of the beat writers of the Giants, no one in the Giants front office, nobody was saying anything but us. And it feels good to see, because we didn't know if he was going to be good, but we just said you got to give him a chance
because he has tools, and you have to rely on the tools.
You can see the tools. Yeah. I think a C. I might even go C minus. Because C is average, and I think they've been a little below average. They've just, I mean, I was looking at something today. I was looking at see if the pitching matchups was out there for Friday. And I took a little screenshot and tweeted it out. And it's funny because I can't pull up my Twitter here, but I could show you the screenshot. If you could see that, it puts the pitching. It tells who the home run leaders are.
Oh yeah,
Ramos, and then it says batting average. Chapman, even though Ramos is hitting 298, he doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify. And then Ramos leads in RBIs, and I'm like, how sad is this team?
It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that your leading batting average hitter who's qualified is hitting
235. Yeah, that's what I put. I put this tweet out. I said, notice anything in these stats below that screams that the San Francisco Giants don't have a productive lineup or enough quality players? Matt Chapman is listed as the club's highest batting average, 235, because he's the only one who qualifies with enough plate appearances. That is, I mean, oh my gosh, 235. I'm not ripping Chapman. I've done enough of that, but that's your leading hitter that plays the most games.
I mean, credit to Chapman. He's played pretty much every game, right? So
yeah, and you knew that about him. That's one of the good things about Matt Chapman. I give him credit. He shows up to play. He plays hard. I actually like Matt Chapman, the person. I've seen him. He's a dog lover. I have nothing personally against Matt Chapman. I think he's a baller. I think he knows how to play the game. He just doesn't have a good, he's just not a productive hitter.
He's pretty much a league average hitter. He's a little better than a league average hitter, and that would be fine if the Giants were a playoff team every year. He would fit into somewhere in the middle part of the lineup, like 4, 5, or 6, which is fine. I mean, he's not your best hitter, and he shouldn't be your best hitter.
Right. He should be like 7th with a good team. Like you put him on the Dodgers, Yankees, he's batting 7th.
Oh yeah. And I mean, he's a great defender. He's a great clubhouse guy from all I've heard. He has tremendous baseball IQ, which you can just tell.
You see it, yeah. He runs the bases.
Exactly. He knows how to play the game the right way. So there's a lot of things to like. And I mean, the thing that you were really critical of the signing in all offseason was that he just doesn't get it done offensively. And that's what the Giants need. They need some offensive spark. They don't need a defensive specialist who can't hit. They need someone who can actually hit the ball and hit for power and hit for average. And the only one on that team, the only person on the Giants right now is Elliot Ramos who can do that.
Right. Yeah, you think about it. Ramos leads the team in RBIs, and he has 141 less plate appearances than Chapman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 141. I mean, you got to be – and Chapman's come up many, many times with men in scoring position and not delivered.
And that's not to say that Chapman has been complete garbage. He's been a decent offense.
Yeah, I would say he overall, I mean, if you took his overall game, it's probably a C+, B-. You know, if you factor both hitting and defense and base running and just showing up to play. There's a lot to be said for a guy that shows up day in and day out and is there to play. But you know, we'll get into that, what the second half should do. We've only got 11 games to go before the trade deadline, so we'll get into that. Robbie DeVille says Giants should bring up Jair Encarnacion. Yeah, he's the 26-year-old kid.
He's been raking in AAA, right?
Yeah, he had a song and dance a little bit with the Diamondbacks, and then didn't catch on. Went down to the Mexican League, was raking down there, and then the Giants signed him, and he's been raking. You know, hitting the ball well, hitting for power. Sacramento, but
is he an outfielder?
Yeah.
Is he a right-handed outfielder?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so I would think that Farhan, I mean, Encarnacion is one of those guys who's like Farhan's reclamation project. It was like Yaz, it was like Wade. So I think Farhan wants to be able to see if this guy has anything in him. So I think if he keeps on doing what he's doing in AAA, he's going to get a shot, which makes me think, like, is Matos on his way out? Is there a trade involving Matos? Because it just seems that Farhan doesn't want to play Matos. He doesn't want to give Matos a shot. I mean, when Matos first came up, for the first week, he was on fire. He was their best hitter. He had that insane stretch of like however many RBIs. He won Player of the Week. Then like a week or two later, he just went on this horrible slump stretch, and it was just, I mean, that it was bad, but these are major league hitters, and I mean, you have to let them figure it out at some point. You can't just baby them all the time. You have to let them be professional hitters, and you have to let them struggle and go through the struggle. And it just seems that Farhan will do that to the vets, but he won't let that happen to the young kids, which
it's really frustrating.
It is really frustrating because Matos could be one of your guys in the future.
Well, the thing with Matos is, I don't know why you have him up if he's not going to play.
It makes no sense. He's 22 years old.
Yeah, he needs to develop. Either he play him at the big league level or send him down and say, you know, you get your everyday at bats, because it's just unbelievable that he could come up like he did and get 16 RBIs in a week, be player of the week in the National League, and then struggles for 1 week to 10 days afterwards and gets sent down. They bring him back up, and he really hasn't had any consistency to play since he's been back. And then, you know, I don't know. We'll get into a little bit more of that too, second half stuff, what they should do. But let's get into a little bit of Major League Baseball here. If you want here, I'll just bring up the actual standings so you can kind of take a look and see exactly who's done what. But give me your surprise team of the first half.
In all of baseball, not just
all of baseball.
Okay.
All of baseball, yeah. So I just went here and did the overall standings. You can just look right there. And
are we talking good surprise or bad surprise?
Either or.
Okay.
Well, let's do surprise, good, and then we'll do disappointment.
Okay. I'll say for my surprise good, I'll say the Red Sox.
Yes, that's the one I'm gonna go with too.
It would. I mean, the Red Sox are a pretty good team. They're not that A tier, but they have some pieces, and they have a pretty good starting rotation, led by the pitching coach Andrew Bailey, um, who
Yeah,
I mean, who's done a really good job with that pitching staff.
right.
But I mean, Devers is as good as he can be. Duran was an all-star. They have some rookies, I think. I'm not like fully accustomed to their roster, but I mean, they're a pretty good team, and I don't think anybody saw them being like 11 games over 500 at the All-Star break. I thought a bunch of people thought, oh, maybe they could be 500, they could be a fringe playoff team. But they're in the playoffs right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they are.
They are, yeah.
If you look here at the wild card in the American League, they're right there.
Mm-hmm. And they're not too far behind the Yankees.
Yeah, they're only 3.5. Yeah,
Yeah, 3.5 games. So,
three.
I mean, they've really played well, and I think that's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I would say I was going to say the Red Sox too, but Gonzo mentioned another club right behind uh, in the standings. If you look at the overall standings, um, we would see the Royals. Take a look at them overall; they're right there, 2 games behind the Red Sox. Kansas City was a team that I don't think anybody expected them to play above 500.
I didn't think they would play above 500. I definitely thought they would be better than they were last year and have been for the last couple years.
Yeah,
But they've definitely put it together. I mean, what were their like 3 off-season pitching signings? It was Lugo.
Waka and gosh, there was one other guy, another name guy. It's not, maybe somebody in the chat will come up with it, but yeah, they signed 3 guys right away during the free agency period. And I was like, man, that's a good move because those guys are either going to help the club win or they're going to be trade
Exactly. They're
bait.
going to be trade bait. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Salvador Perez has had a great season so
yeah.
far. Bobby Witt is like an
Lou
MVP
says best
candidate.
catcher in baseball. I don't think he's better, Lou, than Adley Rutschman of the Orioles, though.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he's having a great year, Perez, but I mean, Rutschman is really solid. Another surprise team to me, really, is the Brewers. They lost,
Mm-hmm.
Greg Counsell, their manager. He goes to the Cubs. They're kind of like,
They lost Burns.
yeah, they lost Burns, and then they kind of were coming off a disappointing season last year, and then Counsell leaves to your rivals in the division, and I'm thinking, man, and they have played well all year. They're 13
Mm-hmm.
over 500. They've got a somewhat of a comfortable, not a guarantee in this division. They've got a 4.5 game lead. That's easily can be caught in a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But Cardinals are the Pirates are the team. I said during our preseason picks, I like the Pirates. I like what Pittsburgh's doing. Paul Skeens, and they've signed up a lot of their young guys to longer-term deals. Reynolds, Hayes, a couple other guys, and they're really. And Cincinnati's coming back. They were. To me, they're a little disappointing, but they're
Cincinnati's
starting.
a little disappointing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna be tough when you look at it all. But
Another surprise could be the Guardians or Indians.
yeah,
Um,
that's a huge. You think
with
about that. I
Stephen
did not
Vogt.
expect them to be. What are they? 20 games over 500? Yeah, 21 games over
Mm-hmm.
500. I mean, they're at a pace really playing close to right at 100 win mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think what is it you got to play to percentage to win 100. It's you got to win at 60, 617. They're right there.
Mm-hmm.
They're at 611. So they're playing 99, 100 win pace right now. That's a good pick. On the disappointing side, wow. I think you got to go. Well, I'll let you go first. What do you think is?
I'm going to take the whole NL West just because, I mean, a lot of people expected the Giants to be better. I know we didn't really think they would be too good. I thought the Padres would have a better season than what they're having. I thought the D-backs would be better. I mean, they're all hovering around 500, and the Dodgers aren't having a great year either.
No, they're 15 over 500. They struggled down the into the first half. They got swept in Philadelphia and then went to Detroit, lost 2 of 3 there. So they lost 5 of 6. Plus, I think they lost some games earlier on that road trip. So, but you look at the Dodgers; they still got a plus 88 win differential. They're,
I mean, the Dodgers are still really good, but
yeah.
I mean, they've had some injuries. Glasnow's out, I
Oh,
think. Yamamoto's out.
Yeah. A lot of injuries.
Betts
You
is
know,
out.
when it comes to disappointment, a team that, you know, I would say kind of maybe the Astros were a little. They got off to and even the world champion Rangers.
Or the Braves. The
Yeah,
Braves
the
are a little
Braves.
bit of a disappointment.
Even they've lost Strider and Acuna. But yeah, it's
Well, the Astros were, I mean, they had a horrible start to the year. So, I mean, they're climbing back into it slowly. I mean, they have a real shot to win that division because, I mean, the Mariners have been a little disappointing, I think. We all knew that their pitching staff would be really good. But that offense is just really bad. I mean, we're probably going to go into individual players next, right?
yes.
I mean, that whole team has pretty much been a disappointment offensively.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. So yeah, we'll see where things go. But surprises, so many surprises when it comes to the players. I mean, if we looked at individual players here, I mean, you could look at pitching, batting average, home runs. I would say one of the the obvious surprise is right in our own, backyard with Elliot Ramos. That's been an awesome surprise. Some other surprises to me, guys like Alec Boehm, Philadelphia, hitting almost 300.
Yep.
He's got 11 homers, I believe. Yeah, 11 homers. Other surprises that stand out. I mean, we'll get to some more disappointments, I think, than surprises for me.
I would say not a huge surprise, but Christian Yelich, he's had a really good year after some pretty disappointing years. He had a decent year last year, but the previous 2 or 3 years, I think, were really disappointing. He had that back issue that I think he's pretty much fully recovered from now. He's not hitting for a lot of power, but he's hitting for average, and I think, I mean, he's getting on base. He's having a really good year, and I think that's one of the main reasons why the Brewers are really good. I mean, Carlos Correa too. Correa is having a great year. You're muted.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, Correa's having a really good year. Yeah, good to see for him.
Yeah,
going through what he went through with injury, the contract situation, and then see him bounce back. But By the way, you guys, like my new hat just came in the mail. Unfortunately, the logo with the color doesn't pop, but if you could see that, it's the Say Hey Kid with the number 24 with the reach over the catch in the 54 World Series. Can you make that out there,
Yeah.
Bar?
I can see that. It's a little. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a little faint, but
Yeah, I they had an orange one. I should have grabbed the orange one, but you know,
maybe use some orange Sharpie to
yeah,
highlight it a little more.
maybe the number or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
the picture on the when I saw it online, it's like this doesn't do justice because it looked a lot better.
hmm
but yeah, I think as you mentioned, the players surprises. You know, trying to think of any other. Duran of Boston would be a surprise.
Duran.
Yeah, Duran has had a really good year. Um, the kid with the A's, I mean, he's popping homers at 20.
Rooker.
Like he's got about 20, I think, doesn't he, Rooker?
Oh yeah, I think he has. Yeah, he has 20. He should have made the All-Star game.
Yeah. Who made it for the A's? Mason Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that kid, man. That guy's
great. He's great.
He's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually drafted him in a fantasy league. I was thinking, oh man,
Really?
I was kind of like, I didn't know if anybody knew about him, so I kind of was waiting, see if I could get him later, and I kind of waited. I didn't want to wait too much longer, but yeah.
Profar's having a great year.
What a year he's having, man. Two San Diego players made the starting lineup for the All-Star team in the outfield, Tatis and Profar, but Tatis was obviously hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. Trying to think of any others.
Chris Sale. He's having a nice comeback season.
Great pick. Chris Sale, yes. He's
been able to stay healthy because that's been his issue throughout his, I mean, not his whole career, but the past couple of years. He's always been really good and he's always had the skill and talent, but he hasn't had that full season in a couple of years.
Right.
I mean, he gets traded to the Braves, and I mean the Braves have some magic, I think. Have you seen that like Jesse Chavez stat where he's like, for the past couple years he's had an ERA like under 2.5 with the Braves for every time he's played for the Braves.
Yeah,
for every other team he's had an ERA like over 5. So I guess they just know how to deal with pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to see him being able to stay healthy because, I mean, if he can continue this, he was at least on a Hall of Fame path.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah. Chris Sale, man, he looks kind of like he did in Boston in his prime, which is pretty remarkable because the stuff he's got, it's like crazy. You know, you would kind of think like, man, could Mad Bum have ever made that kind of a comeback if he was stuck with it? But doesn't look like we'll see Mad Bum again.
I guess, is there any update on what he's doing? Or
I don't know. It's weird. It just doesn't make sense but I mean, he just was really never the same after that accident. But
what was the accident again?
He was doing something kind of biking or something.
Oh,
up in Colorado, I believe, during a road trip, and he went out biking. I think he probably flipped over on his shoulder or something.
Yeah, because I mean, he never threw that hard, but I know his velocity in Arizona was just way down.
Yeah. He had to become a kind of a finesse type pitcher, which he was before in a way, but too bad. But love that guy. So we've kind of gone over some surprises. Who's been some disappointing players.
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah. Does
I
he
mean,
not?
I'd say that's the main one.
Him and Julio.
Oh yeah, Julio Rodriguez. I
Yeah,
mean,
two of the biggest stars in
although
the game.
with Corbin Carroll, I wonder how much that shoulder injury
Mm,
has really affected him. I do we know what that shoulder injury was? Was it like a torn? Did he tear something, or
I
is it
don't
just
know. I would think if he had a torn labrum or something that they would have done something with it, and like, but maybe he's just trying to gut through it. Doesn't want to miss the season.
maybe? I mean, it's pretty bad. I
Yeah,
mean, he signed that long-term deal, and I mean that's not looking good right now.
right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these long-term deals. I mean, if Yamamoto's rotator cuff acts up, I mean, that's going
Well,
to be a
that was
major
the whole thing
disappointment.
with Yamamoto, right? Is he was used to pitching in a six-man rotation,
Right.
and I don't play close attention to the Dodgers, but the, were the Dodgers using a six-man or were they using a
I don't
five-man?
really know. I wasn't paying that much attention to it either. Maybe somebody in the chat would know that. I know we've got a few Dodger fans in the chat generally. Um, were the Dodgers using a six-man rotation, or at least giving Yamamoto 5 full days of rest instead of the normal 4 here in the big leagues?
Mm-hmm.
Because that could play a part in it if he wasn't used to, throwing on every fifth day versus 6 days.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, because they would have, if you had a 5-man rotation like we typically do, you pitch every fifth day, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
with an occasional day off, you get that 6th day, but generally speaking, you're going to pitch every 5 days. So, wow. Yeah, there's quite a few disappointing players when you look at it overall. Bo Bichette comes to my mind.
Bo
Guy that hit
Bichette. Yep.
290 last year. He's down in the 225 range.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Anthony Volpe, I'll say for the Yankees.
yeah,
He started off really hot, but he's really
tailed
cooled
off.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, he started off really hot. He's still up there in the league leaders in runs scored because
Mm-hmm.
lead off hitter with the Yanks, and then
Yeah.
got
Mm-hmm.
all those guys to drive him in.
Yeah.
But he's definitely cooled off. Um, I would say, disappointing uh, until Sunday was Blake Snell.
Oh, definitely.
But
I mean,
man,
I'd say it's still a disappointing overall season up
yeah,
till this point because I mean
that was one heck of a game he pitched, though.
that was a great game.
Man, that was enjoyable just to
I'd
watch
say
him.
Doval has had
Oh,
he's had a disappointing season for sure.
yeah. We should get into this. There's lots of disappointing players in big leagues, but what do you think's going to happen with the Giants and Camilo Doval in the second half?
This is a really interesting topic because Camilo, I've always liked Camilo.
Yeah, I like him a
But
lot too.
I like him. Yeah, I mean it's just he doesn't when he's on the mound for whatever reason this year, he just looks disinterested. He looks
Yeah,
kind of bored. He looks a little lazy. We've seen it multiple times where he doesn't cover first on a ground ball to the right
right.
side. Um, I mean, something I noticed actually the other day when he had to get pulled from the ninth inning. He didn't. When Bob Melvin came out, he didn't hand Bob Melvin the ball. Bob Melvin
Mm.
took it out of his glove,
Oh, wow.
which I thought was a little interesting.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
think
point.
that I mean, I think it's just I think there's something going on with the coaching staff and Camilo, just because the coaching staff has been together. They were together in San Diego, pretty much the whole coaching staff. And they're a little, I'd say they're a little more old school than new school. Um, the Brian Price, Bob Melvin, the bullpen coach. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I just think there's a little disconnect there. Um, I think Bob Melvin has voiced his frustration with Camilo to reporters and everything.
Mm,
Um, Camilo hasn't performed. To me, whenever I see this conversation about bringing Camilo in non-save situations, I think that's kind of BS. Just because you're a major league pitcher, you should be able to get 3 outs. I get it that closers are they're wired a little different. Like they have something to make them a closer. But at the end of the day, if you're brought into a game, you should be able to get 3 outs, no matter
yeah.
if it's a save situation or not.
Yeah. Mark Graves brings an interesting point. That's another thought. Tells me the pitcher wants to finish the inning, doesn't want to hand the pitch. I don't want a pitcher handling the ball to the manager.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You always want your pitcher to finish the inning. You want your pitcher to want to pitch. But I
Right.
think that Bob Melvin having to take that ball out of Camilo's glove, tells you that there's a little disconnect between him and Camilo.
Right. Yeah. 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 There is a lot of trade rumors, Ben, surrounding Doval. Heck, I've been promoting a Doval trade just because, but I was promoting it before his value dropped.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was listening to the radio the other day with Kerry Crowley.
Yeah.
And he brought up this point, is like the fact that there are so many people right now talking about Camilo's trade value and wanting to trade Camilo. That tells you that his trade value isn't the highest right now, and that you're not going to be able to get a premium prospect per se.
Well,
For
this is my
Camilo.
frustration, and I think it is yours too, Bora. We talked last year about. I was saying, I think you were, and Los mentioned it as well. Look, we ought to. I was one promoting trading Webb and Duvall in a package to the Orioles and getting just a coup of players. Because once Webb signed that contract, he became very valuable. But hopefully, Logan Webb, doesn't have the curse of the San Francisco Giants pitching in the All-Star game. Atlee Hammaker once gave up, I think it was like 7 runs in an inning, and then ended up never being the same for the Giants. It was like it just shook him or something. I don't know. It was tough to watch Webb the other night on the mound because it was like it looked like he was afraid to throw a strike. He was going to get.
I didn't watch that part. I watched the one Ramos at bat. That's pretty much all I watched.
Oh yeah, shoot.
How about those uniforms though? Oh my gosh.
I'm not crazy about them. Were you?
I hate them. I hate
Just
them so
stick
much.
their old stick. The one thing about baseball that's different than football and basketball, it's what makes it unique. You don't need to wear the same uniform to know which team you're on.
No, you don't.
Put the guys in their hometown uniform.
Let them represent their team.
That's what I always loved growing up as a kid in the 70s. It was like, oh, I want to see my guys in the Giants uniform. Mays, I want to see McCovey, Bobby Bonds, or, and into the 80s, Will Clark.
You want to see your
Jack
team's
Clark.
uniform in the All-Star game.
Yes. Stop putting these, as Ron Raquel says, stop putting the clown uniforms on. Oh man, it drives me nuts.
There was never any problem with the uniform. There was never any reason to change them. It's the same thing with the home run derby format. The home run derby format is so bad.
Yeah.
It's you don't. The whole point of the home run derby is for obviously the players to compete and to win, but for the fans, you want to watch the ball. You want to see how far it goes. You want to see where it lands.
Yes.
You don't want to see this constant swing and hit, where you can't even see the ball land.
You know what? What they ought to do is 25 pitches, forget the 40, no timer, and just after each hit that goes out, let them watch it. Everybody
Exactly.
show
Let
it.
them admire it. Let the crowd go crazy for the
Yeah,
home run.
25 pitches. You know what? 40 pitches, and most of them, you're going to get 35, 40, close to 40 swings. And then you go to the next round and the next round. Those guys look, I'm telling you, that looks like it would exhaust me for days trying to knock.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you see, I didn't watch it this year, but I saw the past couple of years. I mean, these guys are calling breaks like 30 seconds in
Yeah,
just to get some water.
it's not easy when you're swinging hard for the fences, man, and you're taking that uppercut swing and you're trying to, and the pressure. I just we don't need to see.
It doesn't need to be sped up for all
No.
the. I mean, for all the pitch clock and everything. The All-Star game does the baseball All-Star game is the best Pro Bowl All-Star game, whatever weekend there is in sports. I mean, no one cares about the Pro Bowl. No one cares about the NBA All-Star game. It's a
Yeah,
joke.
nobody cares.
I mean,
No, and
the
the
baseball
dunk
All-Star
contest
game is
is no good anymore. Who cares?
exactly. I mean, the baseball All-Star game is something that the players like, the fans like. I mean, everybody likes it and everybody competes. There's no reason to speed it up. They're just slow it down a little bit. Let the fans enjoy it. Let the viewers enjoy it, and let the players enjoy it. Let the players on the sidelines go crazy and cheer and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, exactly. Mark Graves, even third world countries don't want those all-star uniforms. Yeah, they were just, I mean, what are they trying to recreate the 79 Pittsburgh Pirates with the hats and stuff with the
I mean,
line and
I'm fine with doing something with like all-star themed for the hats.
the hats would
That's
be good, but put
that's
the regular
fine.
uniform
Exactly.
on.
Yeah.
Put the
Exactly.
regular uniform on.
Let the
Let the
players represent their team.
gosh, I don't know why they went away with that. It's like this whole these crazy colors. I mean, that's what makes it is like, especially when there's like 5 or 6 guys from the same team, they all might want to wear a different uniform just to show off their uniforms.
Exactly. I mean, and it's much harder to differentiate players now than it used to be. I mean,
Oh,
if you're
man.
just looking for players, or if you're someone that doesn't really watch baseball, but you tune into the All-Star game, that's a chance for you to be like, oh, I like the way that player plays, or I like his swing, or I like how far he hits the ball, or I like how he pitches. I might start paying attention to this guy. And with the NL or AL uniforms, it's like you don't know what team they're playing for. If they
Right.
have their team colors on and their actual team uniform, then you might grow an audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Cap says it's a business, Dan. Yes, of course it's a business, but I think it's a poorly run business.
And
When
baseball
you,
isn't dying. It's not dying. It's actually growing. There's no reason to have these ridiculous changes.
yeah, as Cap says, they're trying to constantly make money off everything,
It's all Nike now. It's
Yeah.
all about Nike, the horrible City Connects. I mean, how many teams have had 2 City Connect uniforms now?
Yeah.
The whole point was 1 City Connect uniform per team. Now the
Yeah.
Dodgers have had 2.
That's a great point, Mark. Have the teams wear their unis with an all-star patch. Yeah, then if it was a special all-star jersey,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe you put an all-star patch NL for the National League and I
Exactly, yeah.
like separating the AL and
Me
the
too. Yeah,
NL.
exactly, yeah.
I
Did It
like the
used to
old.
be where the winner hosted the World Series, right? That's
Yeah,
the
they
way it
did that
used
for
to
a
be.
while. They did that for a
How do
while.
you what do you think about that?
I mean, it benefited the Giants one year, I think, didn't they?
2012
2010,
and 2012.
they won the All-Star game, I think, the National League, and the Giants were able to get the uh, games at home, I think.
Mhm.
I'm not crazy about it.
Because I mean, the AL right now is just how many there was like a stat, they've won 10 of the last 11 All-Star games.
Yeah,
So it's a little unfair.
yeah, yeah,
But I like the idea of actually competing in the All-Star game, right? You're wanting to win for your
oh yeah,
to be able to get home field advantage.
Yeah, I agree, Ron. Rob Mansford is the worst commissioner in all of sports. He's awful. He is awful.
Yeah.
I do like what baseball does in the games. They had the Phillies infield the other night. They had 3 starters: Bone, Turner, and Bryce Harper, and they had all 3 of them mic'd up together, talking.
See, that's one
I
of
know
the
you don't
things
like
that I
that.
actually hate. I hate it so much.
I like it in an all-star game.
I don't like it anywhere. I have no desire to hear what these players think on the field while they're playing. I just want to watch the game. Like I watched Sunday Night Baseball a couple months ago, I think. And the Phillies were playing, and
Oh yeah,
Brandon Marsh was mic'd up,
yes,
and he was talking about his shoes and him playing video games with Alec Boehm. I'm like, I could care less. I just want to watch the game and enjoy the game.
yeah. I see your point. I kind of
But I see it as a
the reason
way to like.
the reason I like it is just it kind of helps grow the game for some of the
I
people.
see it from that point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see it from that point.
that's where I see it. But it's kind of funny. But yeah, so I mean, what do you think? What do you think, Giants? Second half. Do you think you got 11 games? You got 7 against Colorado and 4 in LA. So you got 7 games on the road, 3 in Colorado, 4 in LA, then come home for 4 against the Rockies. And that's the last time you'll play before the trade deadline. They'll play Tuesday against the A's Tuesday night, but the trade deadline will have already passed earlier that day. So you got 11 games. The Giants are 3 under.
That's not a lot of time. And
No.
the one thing the Giants kind of need right now is time to sort of figure it out. So Farn's he's in a difficult spot, and he's said it on wherever he said it. That he's
He said it on KNBR, yeah.
This next stretch of games is going to decide what we do. I saw something on Twitter today where it said that it was ranking like the strength of schedule for the remaining 30 teams. Did you see that?
I did not. No.
Guess where the Giants are.
Strength of schedule?
Mm-hmm.
I know they got a few easy games, but I would say 21.
They have the easiest schedule remaining.
Really?
They're 30th in strength of schedule.
Easiest. I thought I knew it was a little easier, but I thought it would be there were some tough ones in there. So I thought maybe they were the 9th.
Nope, they're dead last. They have the easiest strength of schedule remaining. So I think that is going to play a little bit of a part.
Wow. I guess they're looking at, when you look at their schedule, I guess they're considering, even though the games are on the road. I mean, they got like Washington and Cincinnati. I guess if you took the records, that's how they base
I think
it, right?
that's what it basically is. It's just based on records. But I mean, some teams are going to get hot, some teams are going to get cold. So it's all situational.
True, it is, because you got Colorado for 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Dodgers, and then the A's are bad. And then you got Cincy and Washington. Detroit's under 500. Atlanta, then Oakland again. Then they got the White Sox, who are the worst team in baseball, for 3. Seattle, then Milwaukee, Miami, and then Arizona, San Diego, Milwaukee, San Diego, Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona, and St. Louis. So,
I mean, just looking at the schedule, it doesn't look like the easiest schedule. So I don't know. I don't know how that's being played.
It's got to be based on record.
That's probably what it's ranked on.
And with the 30th, my guess is they're just a squeak over
probably
from being close to 20th.
Yeah, definitely. What they should do is just sell. They need to sell at the deadline. I mean, it's kind of tough because I can see a scenario where they sneak into the playoffs and Ray is healthy and Cobb is healthy and Snell is healthy and Webb is healthy and their pitching just completely carries them. Like I can see that scenario. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But I mean, you have to kind of consider that happening. I mean, this offense is just not good, and I don't see it getting better. I mean, Ramos, for what he's done in the first half, I don't think he's going to have a second half of of his play style that he played in the first half. I think he's going to dip down a little bit just because teams are going to adjust. He's going to get a little tired. So I think he's going to dip down a little bit. I mean, I think Wade might dip down a little bit. Yaz, who's actually had a kind of productive season, if you're looking at the overall numbers, is going to dip down. There are going to be some injuries. So I don't think this team is a quote unquote playoff caliber team. I mean, they're like 3 games out of the wild card right now.
3 out, yeah.
I mean, the wild card, the NL wild card is very tough because you've got a lot of teams who are just kind of average, who are going to want to sneak in, who are going to want to buy at the deadline to be able to sneak in. So it's kind of a seller's market right now. You can get some good pieces for your players.
Right.
Like if Snell has another good outing or two, where he's just completely dominant, I would just either trade him or, you know what, extend him. Because the last thing you want to happen is another Carlos Rodon where he pitches great, you get nothing for him, and he walks.
Yeah, because if he opts out, I don't think you get a.
You might get some compensation, but it's nothing. It's nothing close to like a trade piece that you could get, because pitcher Snell's market could be very active because he's had dominant second halves in pretty much his whole career. That's usually how it goes, and if he starts showing that dominance, then teams are going to come after him.
You might, I read something today where someone was recommending the Dodgers. He'd be traded to the Dodgers, which, you may not want to help your rival, but if you can get it, if it's something that helps you, in the long run, maybe you look at it. I don't know. I mean, to me, there's guys that can bring something. There's Snell. There is, it'd be interesting if they try and start Robbie Ray right after the break, or if they're going to wait till August.
I don't see them trading Ray at all. I just don't think teams want that risk for this year, at least. I mean, I think, because if he has I don't know if even if he would have a productive second half of the season, I don't know if he would either opt in or opt out, just because he's still recovering from Tommy John and there's no certainty with that. And he's guaranteed. And with the pitching market this last offseason, what pitchers were wanting and what they got, I don't know what it's going to be next offseason. I don't see Farhan dealing Ray or Cobb. I think those guys are just going to play it out as Giants. I think the one guy on the rotation that could get dealt is Snell.
Yeah. Now, this is something that I was thinking, and these guys are saying it. If a player opts out, you get no compensation. Didn't
they get something for Rodon?
For Rodon, they did. They got the 60s. They got Joe Whitman. They picked Joe Whitman. So you do that. That is not accurate unless they've changed it.
I think it's something with like qualifying offers or something.
Yeah, somebody said something about a qualifying offer here. Nick says Snell was offered a qualifying offer before and rejected, so no compensation pick. But that was on the well, no, the Giants had to pay a pick.
They had to pay a compensation pick. Yeah,
they lost their second round draft pick, or third. One of the two was theirs for signing him and Chapman. So I don't know how that works. It seems like if he left, the Giants would benefit from that. I don't know how you get double penalty.
But a trade piece, like a highly touted prospect, is better than a draft pick, I would say.
Yes, absolutely, because a little bit more, what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you could get for Snell? Let's say he has 2 more dominant starts before the trade deadline, and they want to trade him. What do you think they could get for him?
Oh, I think you could get a top 100 prospect.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think with that quality of a pitcher,
I mean, if a
it's
team is desperate enough,
right,
I mean, and
right.
they want to make a World Series run like the Dodgers, I mean, I mean, maybe even a top 75 prospect.
Yeah, you might. I mean, the guy that I know people don't like hearing this, but the guy that brings you the most value is Logan Webb.
See,
And
I'm never going to be in agreement with you with
that's
this.
fine.
I am not going to trade Logan Webb.
That's what sports is all about. I might be able to
Exactly.
I might be able to convince you over a while, just like, give me Bijan. I broke you down, but after it was vetoed like 5 times.
Exactly, yeah.
Here's why. Let me see if I can make some sense
Okay.
to get you to at least consider maybe.
All right.
All right. He's young in the sense that he's 27-ish now?
Something like that, yeah.
He's got a lot of innings on him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know when he may break down. He's
Mm-hmm.
had Tommy John in the past. You continue to put a lot of strain on and innings on that arm. If he has Tommy John at any point in his contract with the Giants, you basically lose him for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What the biggest thing I say about trading Webb is it depends, of course, as Ben says, what do you get in return? But if you get 3 top 100 prospects from the Orioles, which you could, I've already done the trade evaluator,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get Mayo, Kobe Mayo, was 3 guys, and it was Kerstad, Mayo, and Nort. What's the guy's name? Someone help me. I'm forgetting. Nordy or something like that. Anyway, those 3 guys equal pretty much Webb's value. You could. The thing is, are the Giants going to compete in Logan Webb's next few years for a championship? And if
I
the
think they
answer,
could. I think they could.
well, for that to happen, Connor Norby, thank you, Mike. For that to happen, I'm trying. How would that happen? I just don't see it.
Well, what's the timeline? Like 2, 3
Say
years
say 25, 26, 27.
for
I
a
think
championship?
Webb might be signed through 28, but if you wait till 27 to trade him, his value goes way down because of the contract. Doesn't have any. So
I mean, the thing that I am just completely against is trading all-star talent, major league all-star proven talent for unproven rookies and
I get it.
prospects, just because those guys are unknown.
Correct.
And if you make that trade and it doesn't work out, that's a historical franchise failure. Webb is a local kid. I mean, the thing that I mean, not the biggest thing, but I'll give you a bunch of reasons why I would not trade Webb. He's a local kid. He knows the system. He's ranked up through the system, so he knows a bunch of people. He knows how the organization is ran. He's the clubhouse leader. Everybody looks up to him. He has a voice in the pretty much in the organization, as he was in the room when they were talking to Otani, I'm pretty sure, or whoever they were talking to. He was in the room, and he's cheap. I mean, he is on a extremely team friendly deal.
Correct.
And that's valuable to a team. I mean, I can see your point. It's also valuable in a trade,
Right. That's
but
what makes it more.
It's really valuable to a team because they can build around him. And I don't think that Webb's arm is going to break down like Tim Lincecum's arm did. Well, I mean, not necessarily his arm, but his body, I'll say.
Right.
Just because he doesn't throw that hard and he doesn't max out too much. He's very efficient. He's very controlled. He knows his limits. And I mean, he's not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon. And I think his stuff will always play because right now he doesn't throw hard, but he has a lot of movement. As you age, your velocity decreases. I mean, Webb
Right.
doesn't have velocity to begin with. And I think as he ages, he can still he's going to be able to move the ball a little more. So I really think he's going to be able to play until his like mid 30s and be productive. And I mean, you said he's already had Tommy John, which is true, but that also gives him a fresher arm. And with him not maxing out and not throwing 100 miles an hour every pitch, which puts a bunch of pressure on your arm, I see him being able to play a long time.
I can see that. I mean, he throws, like you say, he throws mainly the sinker and the changeup are his biggest pitches. But you know, I just my thing is either rebuild and do a true rebuild and get guys that are kind of look like the Orioles of a year or two ago
Mm-hmm.
when they were still on the upcoming, but they weren't, they didn't have a winning record until last year, right? Then they won 100 games.
Yeah.
Like if you look at their 22 season, what was, I'm just
I mean,
curious.
it's been bad for a decent amount of time.
Yeah. MLB standings. Let me put those in and I'll just pull those up because, they were playing their young guys. All right, here we go. I'll pull this up right here. Okay, look at the Orioles. Oh, they did win in 22.
That was the start.
That was the start. So you go back to 21. So remember the Giants in 09 had a winning season? They were like 86 and 76, and that was the start. And then 10, the rest is history. But this is where I want to get some of those guys that are right there and then build something that becomes sustainable. And here's the problem I see with the Giants. They don't have any assets that are worth actually trading from their farm system. If you look at their just the trade values alone, like if I was to show you what the trade values look like for just the Giants, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's really low. Like if I go to the trade simulator and I pick two teams, I'll just pick the Giants.
Do the Orioles. Let's see.
Oops.
Let's compare them.
Yeah, what's going on with hey, wait a minute. Oh, I got to sign in. Hold on. Let me I thought I was signed in here. Hold on, let me kill that. It usually just pops in. I'll sign in here and
Okay, while you do that, the only way I could see the Giants trading Webb, or I would be in support of the Giants trading Webb, is if they were just in a complete rebuild and you see that they don't have any assets and they don't have any players coming up through the minor leagues in like a couple year span who would make an impact. Like if they were the White Sox right now and they had Logan Webb, then I would be in full support of that. Just because he's the only person on your team that brings value. But I mean, the Giants right now, even with them being 500, they're still decently competitive, I'll say. And I would rather have them try to build on what they already have. Like they have some young talent right now. They have Matos, they have Luciano, they have Ramos, they have Lee coming back next season. They have some players in their system that are younger. I mean, they're not to say those guys are the Orioles prospects who are considered like
yeah. Let's
future
just take
stars.
a look at these. Let's take a look at the Giants. Okay, so what you do is you come over here and you look at the surplus, and we want to look at. We can look at just minors, or we can look at all. So if we look at all, you see Webb has a 94 surplus. And these are pretty current, and these like Ramos used to be in the teens. He's like, his trade value's gone way up. Bailey's got a pretty good value. Harrison still does. And then your biggest minor leaguer right now that's not on the big club is Bryce Eldridge,
who I think is going to be really good, really, really good.
I think he has the potential to be really good too. But Doval's value has dropped in half. He was a 34 last year, or during the offseason. He was a 34 trade value. And Webb's went up slightly. I want to say Webb's was like in the 80s last year in the offseason. But just take a look at, you don't have much value here. See, if I just did guys of a value over 20, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it in the organization. Now, if I look at the Orioles and look at their guys with value over 20, let's there. I go back. Look at 179, Gunnar Henderson.
Crazy.
That's 1. Holiday 2. Basello 3. Westberg 4. Rutschman 5. Rodriguez 6. Mayo 7. Kauser 8. Kerstad 9. Bradish 10. Suarez 11.
Do you remember Suarez on the Giants?
Albert Suarez? That's the Albert Suarez that was with the Giants?
Yep.
In like 2018?
Yep. He hit Hanley Ramirez. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm almost positive.
You sure?
Let me see this. Yeah.
They had a lefty named Suarez. That's not that one.
No, yeah, that's him. Albert Suarez.
He's a right-hander though, right?
Yeah.
Was it? Interesting. Okay. But look at the values
in like
there.
Venezuela or something.
Yeah.
And came back. Yeah.
Look at these values though that they have. And the Giants,
and most of those guys are young.
Exactly.
If not all of them.
All of them are young, but they're not trading Henderson. They're probably not trading Holiday. They're not trading Rutschman, but they might trade Mayo. They might trade Kerstad.
See, here's the thing, though. I mean, these guys are all young. How many of these guys are going to translate to the big leagues? Do you think all of them are going to translate?
Well, we know Mayo is almost there, and Kerstad's up now. And then Connor Norby, he's 24. These guys are, pushing the big leagues. This one surprises me. Well, he's up with the big club, Keegan Aiken, right? Yeah. But if you just looked at levels, if I just did minors only, now look at that. Okay. 1, 2, really only. So the other guys are up. Mayo is up. I guess Nordy is up then, right? He must be up. I guess
so, yeah.
But you can make this trade. I did it the other night. If you wanted to make a trade for the Giants, you could trade.
I mean, yeah, you could definitely do something because I think a couple of those guys are blocked. Yeah, like Mike S says. Mayo, Norby, and Holiday are blocked. I mean, you're always going to be able to find a spot for talent. If someone has talent, you're gonna be able to find a spot for them. I mean, if I were the Orioles, I wouldn't do anything. Just hold still and play all your young kids, and you would have a World Series window for however many years to come.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to use your
Yeah, of
guys.
course, yeah. Sometimes you got to use those guys.
Hey, what happened to
What?
what happened to Mayo? Why am I not seeing him on here? Am I missing something? What happened to Kobe Mayo?
You're on majors level.
Oh, I'm only on majors.
Mhm.
Okay. I need to do all. Okay, thanks. Okay, there he is. All right. So if I did that and then I traded from the Giants and I went to Logan Webb, I traded him to the Orioles, and then I would just need to do maybe like Reggie Crawford, or let's see, Reggie Crawford, Orioles. Then that trade works.
Mm-hmm.
See the values?
Yeah.
It's like right there. You don't have to. But if you threw in Doval, because they need a closer, Baltimore, and if they wanted him.
Do they though? I mean, I thought Kimbrel's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, true.
And I mean they do have what's his name, Bautista coming back next year.
Yeah.
The thing with trading Doval is who are you going to plug into that closer role, and who is going to be actually effective in the closer role?
I would do Jordan Hicks.
Jordan Hicks in the closer role.
Yeah, and I'd make.
I mean, I mean,
you could
make
Walker too.
Walker, you could do Rodriguez.
Yeah, they've got guys that can replace.
This bullpen has talent.
Yes,
that's like the one thing that has been consistent from year to year, or from last year to this year, has been the bullpen. I mean, the bullpen has ranked the top of the league for the past couple years, I think. I mean, the only reason why the bullpen wasn't so good at the end of the year last year was because they were just being overused. I mean, and it's the same thing this year. I think the Giants lead the league in innings pitched for relievers. And it's just not sustainable. I mean, I mean, last year the bullpen games were just ridiculous. That was completely ridiculous. So I think this year with Ray and Cobb and Snell coming back, and hopefully being effective, it's going to take some load off the bullpen. But if I were the Giants, I would try to sell from the bullpen. I would think about giving up a
Taylor Rogers.
You read my mind. But I mean, you consider the human aspect of it. Like the brothers probably love playing with each other. And that's probably good for locker room chemistry.
Right. It probably is. I mean, it's definitely good for those guys. They kind of stick together, the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And they're having really good years.
Yeah.
Good for Taylor Rogers. I've been down on Taylor Rogers just because his velocity has dipped down. But he's been effective this year. So good on him.
Grand Admiral says, watched Eugene live with my renewed minor subscription. Diego Velasquez and Jonah Cox are fun. I remember 2 years ago watching Marco, Matos, and Casey and Eugene. Trust me, the farm is good now. Well,
I'm not going to say the farm is good now, but I think it's
got a few good players,
but not a few good players.
But Major League Baseball doesn't view it as the people
the wide ranking of the Giants prospects.
I mean, if you just look at these, if you just go back to these trade values, just on the Giants themselves,
go to the minors one.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their. You got.
I mean, I think Arias is going to be. He's going to be a player. I think so. I think his value is going to increase.
He's 18. I mean, but you really only have Eldridge and Wisenhunt that are at the top, and then Walker Martin's got potential. But like I say, this is why I said this makes my point, I think, about Webb. These guys, look at Eldridge, 19, 3 years minimum away till he's 22.
Is he in high A now?
He is.
Yeah. Okay.
Arias, 3 to 4 years away. Walker, I don't know why they don't have his age there, but
because I think he's still in the ACL. I
Yeah,
don't know
he
why
is.
they don't have the age though. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's 3 to 4 years away. Crawford should be ready next year. You would think. He's 24. He's a pitcher. Joe Whitman's probably close. McRae should be ready at 24. I mean, we want to start seeing guys 24, 25 pop.
Who else? Who else is the other lefty in the Bishop should be ready?
Hunter Bishop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where his value is on this thing. Wow, that low? Von Brown, look at his values drop like crazy.
I mean, he's 26, so that you can kiss that goodbye.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot. Look at Will Bednar, former number 1 pick, 1.8. Velasquez that Grand Admiral just mentioned, he's 20, but he doesn't have much value, 1.4. Cole Foster, I mean, these are not.
Isn't Foster on the 40?
No, he just got drafted last year out of Auburn.
Who am I thinking of?
But look at the next guys. Pomerez, he was supposed to be a big guy. Toribio, yeah. Ryan Murphy, there's another name. Jonah Cox, the name we're hearing a lot.
I kind of like Jonah Cox.
I've heard great things about him. Cody from Even Your Dynasty mentions him as he really likes him, but he's not valued much here for some reason. All right. Sorry, I had to mute, man. I've got this dang congestion. Maui Ahuna, less than 1. He was drafted last year.
I'm not expecting anything from him.
Will Wilson, look at that. Number 1 draft pick the same year of Hunter Bishop. He was the 15th pick overall in the draft.
Didn't they trade for him?
Yeah. Farhan traded. They picked up Zach. What is it? Zach. I always forget his name. Is it Zach? I want to say my mind. Zach Coharts. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Not Coharts. What? Zach
Cozart?
Whatever. Somebody in the chat knows it. Cozart. Thank you, Gilbert. Yeah, they picked up his contract and ate it, so they got the Angels' number 1 pick. It was a money dump by the Angels. And look what he's got no value. He's 26 now. I mean, where's he going to play?
He's not.
And yet we get excited about some of these guys in spring training. Like, oh yeah, Will Wilson. He could make the club. Look, we got enough Will Wilsons and Donovan Waltons, and I hope Brett Wisely doesn't fall back into that category. I hope he, continues what he's doing, because a lot of these guys are just mid to not much. I mean, look at these guys. Hunter Bishop, 0.4.
0.4, wow.
RJ Dabovich, that's another name we were hearing.
Seth Corey's another name.
Seth Corey, the guy's 25 now. Yep. Remember him? Everybody was high on him. Bishop's 25. Brett Auerbach, another guy, won the Barney Fife award or whatever. What is it? The Barney Nugent?
I don't think he's ever had hype. He's just been like a sort of grinder, decent to good player. I don't think he's ever had hype of like being.
Well, what they liked about him is he played second base, he played outfield, and he caught.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It was like, oh, hey, we got our own Dalton Varsho, and it's like, what is he? Jimmy Glowinky, one of the draft picks in the 2020 draft, along with Bishop and Harrison. Okay, Blake Rivera, that was another guy that was supposed to
Oh,
be
Julio
high.
Rodriguez. Wow.
Yeah, we got our own Julio Rodriguez. Logan Wyatt, there's another name. 2nd round draft pick the year Joey Bart was picked. He's lingering down there at 26. He's going to be another Trent Brooks. I mean, what in the heck? Look at this, guys. I mean, this is in every system, okay? I'm not just
This is
picking
in
on the
every
Giants.
system.
This is in every system. But if I pulled up, let's just
wait real
pick up the
quick. Let's
Dodgers.
go
Who do you want
through
to
the
pick?
Giants' actual valued prospects that they have. Like
The
Eldridge,
values?
that's one. Like that we value, not necessarily the trade simulator, but that we value. Eldridge is one. I'd say Wisenhunt is two.
Yeah, Arias. Maybe Reggie Martin. Maybe you get something out of Grant McCray, not hitting well. There's not a lot there.
There's
I'm
not a
trying to tell
lot.
you.
There's not a lot.
This is why they need to rebuild, guys.
I mean, then you have like the Schmitz and the VRs.
Yes,
And the
this team.
Lucianos and the
Yeah,
I don't
look,
know.
where is Schmidt on this value?
I think he's. Oh yeah, I mean,
he should be around the 6 mark. He's got to be. Wait,
change it from minors to majors, or to all. Maybe he'll pop up.
I would think Casey's in the 6 range. He's 6.1. There he is.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the Giants are. I'm just throwing the reality bell out there, guys. This team cannot continue to each year try to reshuffle to make the 3rd wild card by signing mid-level free agents year after year after year, and not develop your prospects by playing them. So what you're doing, in essence,
you're playing for 2nd place in the division. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and what you see here is, yes, these are numbers, and these could be skewed. This is not a perfect science, okay? Nothing ever is. Brock Purdy was top quarterback in football last year, and he's Mr. Irrelevant, okay? It happens. The numbers get missed. But for the most part, they don't miss this, like on all of them, okay? You're going to tell me the Giants have what is happening with this club? Where is the help coming from? When are they going to be good?
Okay, they're not.
They're not.
That's the reality.
That's why I'm saying trade Logan Webb, because you're not going to be good. What does Logan Webb do for you when you are like 7-14 roughly in games he started this year?
Here's what I'll say about Logan Webb's trade value, or just the trade conversation. To me, that's a last resort. That's like, you've tried everything. You've tried signing players. It doesn't work. You've tried building through the farm system, and it hasn't worked. That's when you trade Logan Webb. Because I mean, they still haven't fully committed to their farm system.
But here's the point. We just looked at the farm system. Where are they coming from? I mean,
but you just said that these are just numbers, right?
Maybe you get Matos to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Luciano hits. Ramos continues. There's 3. Let's say Jung-Hoo Lee comes back and he's productive. There's 4. Casey Schmidt comes up. Maybe Chapman moves on, and there's 5. Now you've got a nucleus.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if those 5 guys all of a sudden, and then let's say Wisely
continues,
does okay,
yeah,
and you move off of Estrada.
I've been saying to move off of Estrada for the longest time. I'm sorry, but I've never really liked Estrada's offensive game. I mean, he's a great defender. I'll give him that. He almost leads the league in like defensive run saved, or whatever that statistic is for the advanced metrics. But his offensive production is so bad, and I've seen it coming for a long time. He strikes out way too much. He is too aggressive, and he doesn't walk. he's bulked up to be this home run or bust hitter. And he is the true like guy on the Giants that is the 3 outcomes guy. He's home run, strikeout. Well, it's the 2 outcome actually, because he doesn't walk. If you just watch his at bats, he almost always swings at the first pitch.
Yeah.
He's almost always down 0-2 or 1-2.
Correct.
He just does not take pitches and he does not walk. And that's just what, to me, I don't want to have someone on the team that is a high strikeout, low walk guy.
Imagine
and who doesn't hit for average.
Imagine they come out of the break in these 11 games and go 5-6.
That's the worst case scenario, honestly. That is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, because it's like, what do you do?
Exactly. And that's what Farhan's there to. That's why Farhan's there. It's like to make these tough decisions. And
they need to you got to hope they either go 2-9
or 11-0
or 9-2.
Because then you have a clear path on what to do.
They do 8-3, 9-2. I could even see 7-4. You're at 500.
Go for it. Yeah, why not? Why not?
But if you're anything less than 7-4, you're just still dicking around. You got 7 games against the Rockies. You got to win 6 of those.
Yeah.
Minimum 5. Anything less than 5 is a failure.
They have to be. I'll say they have to be good wins.
Yeah.
They can't be 3-1, 4-2 games. You have to actually show something.
Yeah. Start pounding them into submission.
Exactly.
But think about this, Bora. Let's say they do the unthinkable and they do go 3-8. Let's say they get swept by the Dodgers and they win 3. They go 3-4 against the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sell.
Oh, who are they selling?
Now, this is where I would sell.
Okay.
Let's go around the diamond. I'm selling Wade.
Okay.
I'm selling Estrada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm selling Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm selling Conforto.
Yep.
I'm selling Yaz.
Yep.
That's 5. And then from the pitching staff, I'm going to see if I can get rid of Snell.
Mm-hmm.
That's 6. I personally would do Webb. I don't think that's going to happen.
That wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen this year, at least.
Yeah, I don't think Webb, as much as I talk about really getting value, and the reason I would do Webb this year is because it's a seller's market.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I would bring in, if I had Webb and Doval in there, and I had some of those guys, and I can get rid of Snell and Chapman, and if all of a sudden I got 5 top 100 prospects out of this,
Dude, then you're in business.
And all of a sudden, and those 500, and I'm not talking about guys that are 19 that are in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking guys that are 22. They're in AAA.
They're knocking on the door.
They're knocking on the door. And if I got 5 of those, and then I can play them with Matos and Ramos and Luciano,
mm-hmm.
and get me Casey Schmidt and Tyler Fitzgerald, give him a crack. Mm-hmm. He's got speed and talent. Let's see what he can do. Play him. He might do something really good for you.
See, Lamont Wade is an interesting one because he's a little older. He's like 29 or 30, I think. Let's look that up. He's 30. Okay, so he's 30.
He's also going to be a free agent after next year.
He is. Do you think he'll play for another 4 to 5 years at a high production level? Because I think he could, with the way he's playing right now, high walk rate, low strikeout rate. Singles and doubles, not that many home runs. I think that can play.
Lamont Wade, I don't have a problem with him. I just thought maybe you can get some value for him.
I think you can, yeah.
I like Wade. I like him a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I mean, he really looked like an all-star until he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. And that's
And
another one of his issues, right? I think he's gotten hurt a decent amount.
yeah. But I would like to see these guys in the minors get a shot. And I think if you went young and you just really developed and played these guys, you might have a rough year next year where
Mm-hmm.
you lose 95 games. But in 25, 26, you might be above 500. And
I
then,
mean,
and
I
then,
could even see them not having, if they do what you said and they just sell everybody and plug in their young kids for the remainder of this year. I could
right.
see them figuring it out this year and not having a great year this year, but then having a decent year next year, actually.
Well,
Because I mean,
that does help getting,
the majority of the guys we're talking about, Luciano, Matos, Schmidt, VR, even to an extent, these guys are in AAA or knocking on the door, at least in on the big club.
right,
Wisely, Fitzgerald, these guys are close. They're a year away at most. They're not in AA. They're not in high A. So they're not. I'm not going to say they're ready, but they've been developed to an extent. They don't need much more development. So it's not going to be this super raw talent that just doesn't know how to play the game, and you're just going to have to deal with it while he makes so many errors and figures it out at the plate. Most of these guys know how to play the game and know how to actually be productive, I'd say.
right.
So it's not like going from a a, 80-win team to like a 60-win team. I don't think it's that much of a difference. Um, I think it's actually a small difference. And what I would do is, I'll go around the diamond now. I would sell Lamont Wade. I would, just because he's not your first baseman of the future. I think Eldridge is your first baseman of the future. And even he's a couple years away, but you can plug and play that.
Right.
I would get rid of Estrada. I mean, I don't know how much value Estrada has, just because he's having an abysmal year offensively.
Right.
But his defense plays, and defense is a part of championship winning teams. Like, these guys, defense up the middle matters. Chapman's interesting because I kind of like him. I like his play style. I like how he's reliable and he plays really good defense. He plays every day. He's a good clubhouse guy. He has high baseball IQ. He has a lot of good things. The one thing is the offense. So it's tough because, I mean, do you think he's going to opt out after this year? If he continues on the trajectory he's had so far, do you think he's going to opt out?
You talking about Chapman?
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't think so. I think if he continues with the up and down, he's got 43 roughly RBIs hitting 235.
Mm-hmm.
If he ends up, let's say there's 65 games left, he's played 97.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's got, let me just do the math here. I want to say 43 RBIs. That's 0.44
Mm-hmm.
a game. So they got 65 games left.
Mm-hmm.
That means he ends up with 29 plus 43, 72 RBIs. If he ends up with 72 RBIs and he hits 21 home runs and hits 230, 235, I wouldn't opt out. I mean, you're this freaking cleanup hitter and you got 72 RBIs.
See, it's tough because the advanced statistics like Matt Chapman,
I know everybody loves Matt Chapman, but my eye test tells me this.
And I agree with you to an extent, and I also agree with the advanced statistics to an extent. Like if you look at pure WAR, he has a good WAR, and I think he's valuable to a team.
He is valuable. I will say this: the Giants would have a worse record without him because he's valuable what he does on the field, and he's one of those type of players that you call a gamer that plays the game right, and because he plays the game right, he helps the team win through intangibles, not just his plate appearances. But he also loses you games with his plate appearances because he strikes out a ton with runners in scoring position, and he has what you call a non-productive at bat so many times. I mean, yes, he'll get the occasional pop and knock in runs and hits the ball hard and crushes it somewhere here or there. But like, it's not a Colt says, he's not a cleanup hitter. He's his number 7 hitter. But the Giants have to have him as their 4 or 5 hitter in this lineup because the Giants, that's their best hitter besides Ramos. That's their best hitter besides Ramos.
I'm going to say I'm not going to sell Chapman just because I think he's a net positive on this team, not just on his play style, but as a person and leader in the clubhouse. And
what do you do with Casey Schmidt at this point? Casey's now.
I would play him at shortstop. I would give him a real shot.
Then what do you do with? I guess you move Wisely to second if you're getting rid of Estrada. But what do you do with Fitzgerald?
Fitzgerald, I see as a utility guy. He doesn't have a specified position. I mean, you've said Chris Taylor. That
fits him. What would you do with? Speaking of specified position, what would you do with Luciano? Where would you put him?
See, a part of me wants him to be the shortstop of the future. But I mean, I don't think he's that. His fundamentals are just not great. He doesn't have the smoothness or quickness that you want from a shortstop. I could see him playing second, although if Brett Wisely continues his play, I could see him in the outfield as their other power right-handed bat with Ramos. You're muted.
You know where I'd stick him?
Where? First base?
Yep. I would get him all off season learning first base.
See, that's a realistic possibility because
down to the winter ball. I say work at first base, forget shortstop. You're not going to play shortstop on our team. We're giving, we have to have your bat in the lineup and your gloves not ready. We need, you're capable, but we're going to go a different direction at shortstop. We're looking at, maybe if you got Chapman back, maybe you're looking at Casey. If not, maybe you're doing something. Maybe it's a free agent, a younger free agent move or a trade. But Luciano, first baseman, should hit 30 homers.
He has the power to hit 30 homers too. See, the problem though is Eldridge is going to be up in a few years.
Yes, but not for 2 or 3 years minimum.
That's a good point. So, then you can move him around.
Then you can move him
to DH after Soler.
Yeah, he could become the DH.
I think that's actually a really good plan because Luciano's he's athletic, but he's not mechanically sound.
Right, he can learn first base because if you can scoop balls at short hit at you, you could scoop balls at first base.
Exactly. I mean, first base is pretty easy. It's not.
Yeah, it's anybody can play first base that is a position player that's athletic enough.
Exactly. He's what, like 6'2", 6'3", too. So he would play.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I really think Carlos Correa would have been a really good signing, I think. Not for the 14 or 13 years, but just because you'd have someone up the middle, you'd have a shortstop to play, and you'd have him. It's tough because you don't have that position solidified. You have maybe Casey Schmidt, maybe Brett Wisely, maybe Luciano. You have a bunch of maybes, but you don't have the guy. And Carlos Correa would have been the guy. A bunch of people are saying trade for Bo Bichette. No, he's not a good defender. He's historically been a good hitter, but this year has just been really bad. I don't know if you'd want to trade some of your top prospects for that. That's a pretty big risk. I think you need to find out who your shortstop is in the near future. Just because you can't keep rotating Nick Ahmeds and Brett Wisely's.
You got to find somebody. You got to find somebody under 30 that can play.
Exactly, that can play there for at least 5 years.
Yeah. Is this true, Bora?
Probably. Giants, I wouldn't doubt
they've played 97 games. You're telling me they haven't had the same lineup once?
That would be so funny.
No way.
No,
they're on pace for 162.
They've had the same lineup.
Oh, batting orders with a total of 97 unique lineups. They've played 97 games. I thought they had a game where they ran it back.
I think they have.
I bet you maybe around 90.
Maybe. Can you
give us a source on that? You got that, Niner Empire? Because I would love to look that up. That's wild.
I wouldn't doubt 90. I don't think it's 97. But
if it's 97, man, you're like doing gymnastics to try and come up with a different lineup every day.
97 would be crazy. I honestly think you can get something decent for Yaz. Because if you look at his stats this year, just his overall stats, he's having a decent year. I mean, let's see, the batting average has actually been up. He's at 241. His previous 3 years have been 224, 214, and 233. The on base percentage isn't great. It's at 316. He doesn't walk a ton. But he has an OPS plus at 116. So that's a pretty good OPS plus.
Yeah. What's his actual OPS? Is he 750-ish?
780? He's right at 750.
Okay. 800 is considered pretty good.
800 is considered pretty above average. So I think you can get something for Yaz, because I also saw something on Twitter today. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yes. How do you spell that? Yaz.
I just put in Mike Yaz, and it's like YAS.
Okay, MLB defensive runs saved leaders. He leads the NL. He's tied for the leader in the NL for defensive runs saved.
He's a great right fielder.
He's a great right fielder, and that's valuable. Like a right fielder who's a lefty bat, who has an OPS of 116. I think you can get value for him.
I would trade him to Boston, man.
I would trade him anywhere.
Hey, you want to trade? You want to trade for your shortstop? Here, let me show you. I'll put together a trade for you right now. Giants and Red Sox. Okay.
Who's their shortstop?
They got a kid coming up that I love.
Oh, Mayer?
Mayer, yeah.
They're not trading him. He's untouchable.
We're going to get him.
For Mikey Strumsky.
Well, we're going to have to give up more than that. But we're going to get watch how we get Mayer here just on the NorCal Sports Network.
I could see a team like Seattle. Just because their offense sucks. I could see Pittsburgh. I think a decent amount of teams would trade for Mike Yastrzemski. He has value. He has some value. He has some speed. He has some power. He's a really good defender. And he's a net positive, I guess. Though if you've watched him like we have for the past 4 seasons, he hasn't been great. This year, I'd say this year has been his best year in the past 4 years, which is good to see. I mean, good for him. But you got to trade him because he's a free agent after this year, right?
Who? Yes,
Yeah.
I believe
Or does he
so.
have another year of arbitration?
I believe he's. Yeah, I think he's got
No, he has another
one more
year. He
year.
has one more year of arbitration.
Yeah. All
Still,
right.
trade him.
All
Get
right.
something. And then Conforto's an easy trade. He's on his last year. He's not going to be on this team next year. Just get anything you can for him.
Right. Right. All right. So we're trading away. Do we have enough to trade for? Do we have enough to trade? Who can we give up? Let's see. 48. All right, here we go. Red Sox. We're going to do this. Some of you guys aren't going to like this.
You giving them Webb?
Nope, he's too valuable. There you go, right there. Marcelo Mayer. For Harrison, Yastrzemski, Doval, and Grant McCray. Trade values work. You're basically the best player in the deal you're giving up is Harrison. But you get a shortstop that is going to be he's kind of almost, some people like compared him to Jeter like.
Yeah, he's going to be really good. I mean, I don't see the Red Sox trading Mayer for anything really. I think they're pretty stuck on him being a lifetime Red Sox. I mean, I would do this trade just because I'm not. What do you think about how Kyle Harrison has performed this year?
Mixed, very mixed.
Right?
Yeah, very mixed.
I haven't been impressed with this stuff. That might just be me. I haven't seen that plus fastball that has been highly touted throughout his whole minor league career. I mean, he sits 92, 93.
Yeah, and his command is
so off.
Arm side, he's always
it's always arm side high and into a lefty.
Yeah, gosh, and he hits so many guys. Yeah, he's just, I mean, like Snell the other day looks just so sharp and just, man, he just looked unhittable. I mean, basically was unhittable.
I mean, he was hitting every spot.
Yeah,
Snell was hitting every spot. Yeah. I mean, that's what you want to see from Snell, but I just haven't been impressed from Kyle Harrison, and he's still he's still 22, so he's still young.
That's why I think, you keep waiting, you're going to have his value down.
That's a good point.
Just like Doval's is down. It can come back up.
See, if Doval has a good stretch of like 5 games where he's closing the games and he looks energized and he looks pumped up, then that would be the perfect time to trade him.
Right. Because you better hope he gets a shot in 11. You got 11 games. You hope he gets 5 shots to close the game. You hope he gets about 7.
You hope he gets 11 so that he.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't put him in all 11.
Oh, yeah.
But if tell you what, if he gets 7 or 8 shots, now the Giants are looking good. That means unless he does what he did Sunday, unless he botches it. But hey, man, we're going to close it out. We're coming up on 2 hours. I think it's what time is it? It's 11:37. So I got to get some rest with this doggone cold. I guess you could probably hear it in my
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, sitting in my chest. So, but yeah, great to have Bora back on, and we'll be back. The NorCal Sports Network. Friday night, after Giants Rockies, that game starts 5:40 our time. So Let me just confirm that. Look at the schedule. Yes. No, it's 5:40. 5:40. So we'll be on at I would say 8:30 right after the ball game. The game should probably just have ended.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes a little longer, we'll come on a little later. But make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Tell your friends about NorCal Sports Network, the only station on YouTube that covers the San Francisco Giants post-game shows after every game for more than an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can cut those down a little bit, but we are here. So we try to bring you some good information, and we'll see. Los is out on trip out right now. I think he's in the Bay Area, so he's having a family visit. Eric's out tonight. He should be back hopefully Friday, and we will see from there. But everything is a go with NorCal Sports Network. Thank you guys for joining us. And 8:30 again, Friday night. You got any final closing thoughts, Bora?
No, let's hope that Farhan does something. We don't want another AJ Pollock. We want something done. We want some activity in the trade deadline.
Right. And we're gonna go out. We talked about the kids. We want to hear play the kids. We're gonna watch this, and we will see you guys Friday night, unless a big trade comes tomorrow, which I doubt. But you never know. If a trade happens with the Giants, we'll be here. So check your notifications. Make sure you got that turned on. You get notified when we come on. We'll see you Friday night, 8:30 after the Giants' first game of the second half against the Colorado Rockies. For Bora, Dan Coach Camilo saying, see ya.